Hello, people of Wanner. I wanted to start by saying that I miss you guys a lot, and that I am honored that you would ask me to talk to you about peacemaking, because you guys know so much about peacemaking. You're the ones that have been teaching me about peacemaking. But I am, and I'm going to say a few things. Hopefully I know something. But the first thing I wanted to say, I've got 3 points. So first, make people feel heard and safe. People need to be heard, even no matter how wrong they are, how much you disagree with them, they need to be heard and have their side of the story heard. There's a video by the Christian motivational speaker named Patrick Lenciani, and he talks about the situation where he was stuck in this long line at the airport, and all of a sudden this guy butts in front of somebody else. And the guy that got butted in front of starts to get so mad, and it's like it's going to go down. He's getting into a conflict with him. Well, Patrick Lenciani, he goes up to him and he says, "I understand why you're upset." And he listens to that guy's side of the story, and he's able to de-escalate it by saying, "Yeah, man, this wasn't right that somebody would step in front of you." And just by hearing him, he was able to lower the guy's anger enough until security was able to get there and deal with the situation. Secondly, sometimes you need to unplug, take a vacation from the conflict or stress. So people, human beings, we have this reptilian part of our brain, the most ancient part of our brain, and it'll kick in to a mode called fight or flight. And the problem with the fight or flight is that we reciprocate it. So one person's going into fight or flight, it causes the other person to go into fight or flight, and things escalate and up and up and up and up and up. Well, you got to step away from it. We know that Jesus, in many of the more stressful times in his ministry, would go off by himself and pray. And people would be like, "Jesus, what are you doing? There's all this stuff going on." Well, sometimes you need some time just to realize what's important to respond to and what's not important to respond to. And I personally find it hard to pray when I'm in a fight or flight. So I need to get away in order to make that connection with God. Thirdly, when somebody is causing grief and stress and craziness and causing a conflict, quite often it's about something else other than what the conflict appears to be about. There was an excellent example of this that came up recently where the famous actress Sarah Silverman had received some very rude and inappropriate responses to some of her tweets, where this guy was just saying things he shouldn't be saying to her. And she responded to him. Instead of ignoring him, she said to him, "I know what you're doing, so what's really going on with you?" And the guy ended up opening up and telling her that the reason he was acting out like this is because he's suffering from very bad back pain, and he didn't have health coverage, and he wasn't going to getting any treatment for his back pain. And she was able, because she knew this, and she's an actress and wealthy in that, to help him out. And, it's surprising. You see things like this all the time where there's conflicts, and the reason for the conflict isn't the real conflict. I've seen whole churches in arguments about theology, and the person driving it is actually upset about something else in his or her life. So those are my 3 points. I think you guys are fantastic peacemakers already. I wish I could make a hotline, and it would be a bus full of people like you would show up at any church that's in conflict. Fortunately, this one's not yet, but churches that are in conflict, you guys would show up, you would talk to people, introduce third perspectives, listen to where people are coming from, and people would just feel so heard and understood that they wouldn't even be able to fight and hurt one another, because there's a lot of hurt out there in the faith world. Anyways, it was great talking to you guys again. I hope you have a fantastic day, and keep on rocking that peacemaking.